say when I was little, but I still am little, I haven't grown at all. When I was younger, I don't know if anybody can remember the ride in Perth called the Super Loop. You went upside down. Now, they didn't have the safety measures years ago today that they do now. They just had a cardboard cutout. And the person said, if you're taller, you want to be taller than this cardboard cutout to go on the ride. Well, I wasn't, surprise, surprise. But there was nobody there to say, sorry, you don't go on our ride. I just went on the ride. And so when the bar came down, it didn't come in close to me. It was out there. So when our ride went upside down, there was nothing really that held me in apart from sheer strength through my arms and my legs. And that sort of put a little panic in me then. So as I got older, I'm not one for big rides. So this day now we take girls to Oakwood Park with these huge rides. So I struck up this deal with Paul. I said, you go on the big rides with Ellie, and I'll go on the little rides with Libby. He said, okay. So by lunchtime now, and after lunch, Paul was going to be pale, he's going to be white. He said, oh, I can't go on any more rides. And there's this one particular ride there, you might know, it's called Bounce. You sit in there and it shoots you up to hundreds of feet in the air. I might be exaggerating, it might not be hundreds, but it was very high, at a speed faster than you can imagine. Then it brings you back down and it takes you up ever so slowly again, 100 feet in the air. I thought I was going to heaven. It was that high up. And then when you least expecting it, it just drops you again at this speed that you cannot imagine. So Ellie had been on it once with Paul and she wanted to go on it again. And she's going, oh, Mommy, please come on. And Paul's looking at me to say, I'm not going on. I'll try again. And I said, I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't go on. And she's going, please, Mommy. And you know the little puppy dog eyes. Oh, please, come on the ride with me. So there was part of me really wanted to do it. But there was just such this fear of, I don't know whether I can do it. They should come on, I'll be with you. Then my 8-year-old daughter coaching me through this ride. And Mum, you'll be fine. Mum, breathe. Mum, look at me. Mum, hold my hand. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're in this queue now. I know when you get to that part of the queue, and you know the next ride is going to be me. I feel quite sick now thinking about it. I sat Ellie onto the ride, put the bar down, made sure she was okay, she was right. I sat on the ride. Now I pulled the bar down and clipped it in, and you know what, it felt so secure. All my flashbacks of the Super Loop in Porthcawl vanished because suddenly I was like, I won't move, I won't fall out here because I was that tight in it. So I calmed down a little bit, so I'm looking at Ellie next and going, okay, love, you alright, you win? Are you doing bar safe? Okay, she Mum, don't look at me like that on the side, because when the ride takes off, it goes so fast, your head will stay like that. So now she gives me even more fear. I think now my head's going to stay like this, so I'm going to keep my head straight. Then I start looking at her like this. Then know that saying that people say, if you go cockeyed and the wind blows, you stay like it. I thought that was going to happen. I thought, if I'm looking at it like that and the ride takes off, my eyes will stay like it. So I'm holding onto the bar, like this, afraid to blink, afraid to breathe. She's going, Mum, you okay? And yeah. I was afraid to open my mouth, because the ride would take off and I'd be like this. She said, when the man says we're ready, we will go. I said, okay. So I'm holding on. I tell you what, I never cried so hard in my life. Oh, Jesus, please, oh, please keep safe, please keep safe, please keep safe, please look after me. All of a sudden, whoosh, we're gone up into the air. It brings us back down. I said, well, who's that it, you know? She takes us back up now, then it drops us. We go up, like I said, I thought I was going to heaven. All you can see is your feet dangling. You're up with the birds and in the clouds. And when you least expect it, the ride just drops you. And your stomach comes out and goes somewhere. But you know what? I absolutely loved it. When we went up and when we came down, do you know what it made me do? It made me go, woo! It was that wonderful. And I wasn't a scream of fear, because my father always told me, if you're frightened on a ride, I'd just scream at the top of your voice. It wasn't that fear. So much that we got off that ride, we ran around, we went on it 5 times in a row. Paul came and found me about 3/4 hour later. He wasn't looking very happy. Where have you been? I said, Paul, the queues were terrible. Every time we got off, we ran around and we got on it again. I wanted one in my back garden. It was that wonderful. You know, the key, I think, that made me enjoy that ride was that security. See, and that's the key that God wants us to grasp. See, when we put our trust and our confidence in Him, when we feel so secure, even though those times God says, I want you to do this, and I want you to step out and do that, even though it's so terrifying, we have such a confidence in God that He will take us to those heights. He will take us to those places in our destiny that we will never imagine. And it will cause us to go, woo! And we will want to say, come on, God, let's do it again. See, that's the type of freedom God wants us to have. He wants us to experience a life in Him that we say, come on, God, I want to do that again, and I want to do it again. You know, if I had not gone on that ride, I would never have experienced it. I could never stand here today and tell you how exhilarating, how free I felt on that ride. You know, Jesus doesn't want us to be bound by fear, but He wants us to be alive and free in Him. You know, what Moses didn't realize was that he had everything he needed right there in his hand. You know, and this is the verse that God spoke to me in preparing this word. It's in chapter 4, verse 2. And God said to him, what is that in your hand? You know, the answer to Moses was quite simple. Well, it's a staff. Moses was a shepherd. Every shepherd had a staff. You know, but the point here is that Moses had something that God could use. And God says to us this morning, what is that in your hand? You know, God wants to take hold of the things He has placed into our hands, our gifts, our talents, our abilities, and He wants to use them for His glory. He wants to take hold of the ordinary things in life and make them extraordinary for His purpose. You see, the staff that Moses had was just a stick. There was nothing special about that staff. But in the hands of God, it became mighty and powerful. In the hands of God, it allowed Moses to catch a serpent by the tail, symbolizing power over Satan. The hand that became leprous and was restored again speaks of power to heal. You know, that same staff would be used to part the waters of the Red Sea, allowing the children of Israel to walk through on dry land into a place that would set them free. God would do all of that using something Moses already had in his hand. You know, but so often we hold on to our giftings and we don't allow God to use them in our lives. Very often we take them for granted. You know, there are people who can play instruments, there are people who can sing, there are people who can preach, there are people who find it easy to witness, there are people who are good at organising things. Yet we use every excuse, like Moses used, not to be used for God. You know, we say, I can't. Sometimes we say, I can't be bothered. I don't want the responsibility, I don't want the commitment. We try and bluff God sometimes with our excuses. You know, Moses even went on to say, Lord, I'm not a good speaker. Yet in Acts 7:22 it tells us Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was powerful in speech and action. Excuses.